Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, just tuning in through our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, you've heard me say a lot on this program that all of us have a story. It's one up to us to be able to share it, but also to see who can benefit from it. Our next guest has definitely been able to do that. We're excited to welcome Gary Clement to our program. Gary is the host of his own radio show. It is the basis of a book called G-Tube Network Media Presents the Gary Clement Radio Show, Volume 1, When Strong African-American Men and Women Stand Up. We're going to talk to Gary not only about the compiling of these stories, but also what it's been like for him to share a bit of his own story, what has inspired him, and, of course, let you guys know how you can get your own copy of the book. Gary, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you?
Glad hey, doing really good. Hey, glad to have you, Gary. Glad to have you. You know, you and I were just talking briefly, so definitely want to give a shout-out to our mutual friend, Mr. Angelo Ellerby of Double Exposure Media Relations. He was telling me about your book, so I headed over to Amazon and got it for myself. So, Gary, I want to talk about this journey for you because you share a bit of your own story in the beginning of the book. But what has it been like for you to reflect on your personal and professional careers, Gary, and how you've been able to share these amazing stories?
Okay. Well, like I say, putting this book together, actually, I guess I would say it probably took me like 2 years or so to kind of really like figure out, what all I wanted to, talk about and how to do it. My interviews, what I normally do is I try to not only cover an artist's, project, but I also like to get into human issues in real life situations. And so that's how I was able to come up, like I said, with the title and whatnot, for the book. And, it gave me an opportunity, like I said, to go through my stash of interviews, I guess you could say, and, pull some that would actually fit into this mold or whatnot of when strong Afro-American men and women stand up.
Yeah. So we are able to find out, for those who, like myself, were just being introduced to you, Gary, we're able to find out a bit about your background in the beginning of the book. How much do you think your own personal story kind of led you in the direction of storytelling yourself?
Well, like I said, I guess, from being young, I'm the oldest of 4 boys to a single mother. And what I actually experienced early on was like spending a lot of time or whatnot by myself. So that gave me an opportunity to, develop, like I said, develop creativity and, like I said, build my own stories as well as, up and, dapper, I guess, a little bit over into being an artist and drawing a little bit and just find out the thing and stuff that really like separated me or what my actual calling and stuff was. And so I discovered, like I said, that writing, I love writing. And so I love reading. And like I said, as I was probably in my early 20s or whatnot, after attending Full Sail Center for Recording Arts, I had actually come back to Virginia, where I'm actually from. And I was interviewed or whatnot with a newspaper or whatnot there, and then she asked me would I, like the opportunity of having my own column, and so that was like the birth and stuff of the Clementine Review, like weekly entertainment column, which actually, like sparked all of this, and yeah. But I won't tell you too much. I can let you, ask me the questions and stuff. But I don't want to get too far ahead of you.
Yeah. So since you mentioned that, I mean, one of the things that brings up another point, though, Gary, and that is because I've read in the book where you talked about that column, but you also talk about the changes in media and how that changed, what you were able to do with the column. What has that been like for you to witness, the way that things have changed? I mean, we go from reading in your story to your getting used to typing on a typewriter to now we're in a world where literally the world is at our fingertips thanks to social media and the Internet. What has that been like for you to see the changes that have happened, and not only in the world but also in the area of journalism and media?
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, as far as like I said, my start and stuff, I started where I just basically just with the ink pen or pencil and a piece of paper. That's how I started, and and I, like I said, maybe for like 6 months or so, I worked that way, and then my mom helped me, invest in stuff in the typewriter. Then we went from there to basically, having a fax machine, and, it was like step by step by step. And today, like you said, everything is totally different. And it's actually is overwhelming because, you've got all you need now is like it's a computer, a laptop or something. And then it's like everybody is like right at your fingertips and stuff. All these, different celebrities and their publicists and all of the different companies and networks. It's a whole lot. Everything is totally different. I guess you could say the dying breed now with the newspaper business is, actually like it's slowly going out. It's not totally out, but it's slowly going out and stuff. And it's just a totally different animal and stuff now, And I'm my radio show, actually, when I created it, a publicist out of California actually gave me the idea, asked me had I ever tried to, try to set up a format, stuff like that to use it. And I started and said, well, this is a whole lot easier than writing, so maybe I'll try this. And then I just kept going and going and going. And then I found myself with, like almost 200 episodes and stuff of the Gary Clement radio show. So, yeah, so now, like, it's just a whole different day and different time, and, we get, in order to, like, continue to do this business, you've got to actually, like, to be willing to, listen, learn, and adapt and keep changing, because that's what's happening now.
Exactly. Such a great point. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, he's on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. Gary Clement is our guest for this segment. We're talking to Gary not only about his own journey, but also what led him to now write the book G-Tube Network Media Presents, the Gary Clement Radio Show, Volume 1. As he tells us in the book, there will be more coming. But this one is focused on when strong African-American men and women stand up. And one of the examples you give in the book is Dr. Frank Godfrey Sr., Gary, in the book. And it's interesting reading his story because here he is someone who knows what it's like my mother, to go through segregation, but also to look at the ways that men are looked at and their professions are looked at. I thought that was really interesting. For those who have the print edition of the book, I think one of the great things that comes up in this particular chapter, Gary, is when he said, from my experience, men take jobs that show them working hard, such as bricklayers, construction workers, truck drivers, cement workers, auto mechanics, but not as teachers. What was that like for you to see how the idea of the black man and what it means to be a black man or a man has kind of evolved when it comes to the jobs we get?
Well, like you said again, you don't see too many African-American males or whatnot, in a school system or if you have in a school system and stuff anymore. When I grew up, my athletic, coach or whatnot was, of course, a man. My band teacher was a man. You had a couple of men that actually taught academics or whatnot, but for most part, that was all women, And so as, Dr. Godfrey say, now, like you said, it would be a great thing or whatnot for African-American males to actually be able to see us in the school system being able to work along with everyone else, that we actually have, degrees or whatnot where we can, and could actually advance or whatnot in that particular capacity. It's like I said. So this thing of men in the classroom, black men in the classroom, that's actually a major thing, and it's funny because my nephew a couple of days ago told me that that's something that he wants to actually go back to school and do, which is be a black male teacher within the classroom, because he and then too, the current company that he works for, they're actually helping him to push him or whatnot to achieve that, and I thought that's wonderful,
Right. Exactly. What was it like for you? It's one thing for you to have these interviews, and you do give people the opportunity, I guess, especially if they have the Kindle edition, it's a lot easier for them just to click and listen to the interviews, Gary, but what was it like for you to go back and to listen to these and then to be able to decide what you wanted to share in the book?
Well, like I said, it was really a process. Again, like I said, it took about 2 years or whatnot to kind of, make total decisions or whatnot about this. And I went through a process. I think I started with about 12 interviews. And, like I said, I wanted to basically make sure that everybody was talking on a different subject matter, something that could actually help our community, not just have them in the book or whatnot, to just be able to brag about I have them in the book. But I wanted them to, like I said, have, content or have material and stuff that was, that was something that was useful or whatnot for our community. And so the main, in the big person that I was actually very excited about being part of the book was, Professor Matthew Knowles or whatnot, and who's Beyonce's father. This, like I said, I think we had talked about 2 or 3 times and stuff, and, he really has a very deep and wonderful story or whatnot, where a lot of people, like I said, may not know about him. They know about, Beyonce and her, Sister Solange and, Destiny's Child or whatnot, and all of the other groups and stuff that, this company or whatnot actually have dealt with, but they don't know his story. So this kind of gave me an opportunity, like I said, to go through and kind of get to know him and be able to tell a little bit of his story or whatnot. And then when I approached him and stuff about being part of the book, like I said, that was interesting. And I just knew it was going to be a long, drawn-out process to get him to give me the okay or, sign paperwork and stuff that it was okay that I use his interview or whatnot, for the book. But it was, like I said, it was interesting because he was the easiest one, and it took, I sent him the information and stuff like on a Thursday, and by the afternoon on that Friday, he had me a signed consent sent back and everything. He had signed it, dated it, and everything. I was like, wow. I was, so I was really, happy after receiving that back. So again, like I said, the book is comprised of, interviews and whatnot with, like I said, Professor Matthew Knowles, who talks about the importance of being an entrepreneur. Then there's Dr. Frank Godfrey, who talks about the importance of having, black male teachers in the classroom. Then jazz pianist and Professor Mark Adams, who talks about the importance of music education. Musician Ivan Hamden, who actually was the drummer as well as, somewhat I guess you could say an instrumentalist and a songwriter somewhat with Luther Vandross. He talks about the importance and power of the knowledge of music. Then Dr. Loretta Long, whom many know from the long-running Sesame Street, she talks about the importance of saving our children in today's world. And Dr. Roma Benjamin out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, talks about about reading and technology in our churches and our communities. Dr. Marco Clark, who's the man when it comes to education and having, several different schools around the country or whatnot that deal with, children whom are, at risk or whatnot. And they have really a very wonderful performing arts program. He talks about the importance of good teachers and good parenting. And for my foreword, I actually was able to get, attorney Faith Fox, who's a managing director of the Cochran firm in Charlotte, North Carolina, who wrote my foreword. So I've got a variety of, different stuff in this book, including, local interviews with a variety of educators, people who share, the same thoughts about education and literacy in the black community, such as myself.
Right. Well, it definitely is a great look, I think, at what people have been able to achieve and also sharing a bit of your own story along the way, Gary. Excited we had a chance to talk about it. Again, everyone, Gary Clement has been our guest. The book is The Gary Clement Radio Show, Volume 1, When Strong African-American Men and Women Stand Up. And one of the other ones that stood out that I think our audience will really appreciate and definitely want to bring up is Simone Butler Thomas, the single mother, and what she was able to share that single mothers have been able to do like herself, and the importance, of course, of the mother as well. So definitely one for our audience to look out for. I got the book through Amazon.com, so you all can head over there and get it for yourself. And, Gary, how can they stay connected with you?
Okay. Well, even before I get to that, my whole idea in regards to this book or whatnot, my next part of this project actually is to put together a literacy and a reading and literacy tour or whatnot, where I can actually, have, some of these people who are in the book, as well as, other, entertainers or whatnot, like, Fantasia, or if it's, or if it's, some of the housewives of Atlanta, or just different celebrities or whatnot, to basically be a part of the tour, where we will actually have them on stage where they can talk about, their experiences of, being in the classroom. What was it like? What did they think of the teachers? Did the school systems and stuff make it equitable and, fair for them in regards to learning and what they learned? And, I think it's important that, a lot of our young people get to see stories and stuff like that and be able to mingle with these people. A lot of them idolize, they look up to the celebrities or whatnot, but they don't know their story. They don't know their story when it comes to education, or, if it was a good experience, if it was a bad experience, whatnot. So I want to be able to bring, like I said, these celebrities, if they may be from, pro basketball to, to television, artists, to actors, to recording artists. I want to be able to bring these people and stuff together on one stage so they can tell their story and stuff, and then have like a concert and stuff afterward or something, where young people can actually, learn something more than just bouncing a ball or recording a record and performing on a stage. These are people too, And so I think that I've got something very powerful here that could possibly, a vehicle that could possibly do that with this. And how can they stay connected with you, Gary? Sure. Okay, cool. As far as contacting me, you can go to Gary C. Clement at gmail.com. You can send me emails and whatnot there. The website actually is not back up yet. We're still working on it. You can also, like I said, purchase a book on Amazon.com. Just type in the Gary Clement Radio Show, and it should come right up. You can also go to Facebook and go to the Gary Clement Radio Show, which is on Facebook. I have a Twitter actual page and whatnot as well, and an Instagram page. And so just, like I said, those are actually different. But just type in Gary C. Clement and just Google me, and you'll see a lot of links and stuff there to find me. All right, Gary. Congratulations to you again. Glad to speak with you. Thank you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make it a great one. Take care.